In life, people will test you. They will misunderstand you, underestimate you, and yes, disrespect you. But let me tell you something. Your response is more powerful than their insult. Most people, they react. They fight back. They scream. They post online. They argue. And guess what? They just made the person who disrespected them important. Don't give them that gift. When someone disrespects you, stay quiet. Not because you're weak, but because you're building something too valuable to interrupt. You're too focused, too disciplined, and too wise to waste energy on noise. Think of silence like a shield. It protects your focus, your reputation, your peace. It doesn't mean you didn't feel the pain. It means you chose not to let the pain control your next move. I always say, let your results speak so loudly that nobody remembers what they said about you. The world doesn't remember what was said in an argument. It remembers who succeeded. So next time they laugh, insult, or disrespect you, don't fight back. Just smile, stay quiet, and build. Because soon they won't be able to speak over the sound of your success. In today's fast-moving, loud world, silence is often misunderstood. People think if you don't speak up immediately, if you don't clap back when someone insults you, you must be afraid, you must be weak, or you simply don't know what to say. But the truth is, silence is often the greatest form of power a person can possess. Anyone can react. Anyone can shout. Anyone can type a response in anger. But not everyone can control their emotions. Not everyone can sit still when their ego is challenged. Not everyone can look at disrespect, breathe deeply, and say nothing. That requires maturity. That requires strength. That requires wisdom. When someone disrespects you, the first instinct is to respond. Defend yourself, prove your worth, fight back. But in doing that, you've already lost something. You've let the other person's words control your emotions. You've allowed their opinion to become your focus. You've given them power over your state of mind. And the moment you do that, you've traded your inner peace for external noise. But silence is different. Silence is not the absence of thought. It is the presence of control. It is not a void, it is a shield. When you stay quiet, especially after being disrespected, you are saying, I am in charge of how I respond. I am not giving this moment more power than it deserves. Most people don't understand the cost of reacting. Every time you defend your ego, you spend emotional energy. You step into a battle that doesn't need to be fought. You try to prove something to someone who doesn't even value your presence. And for what? Temporary relief, a false sense of victory. Strong people understand that their worth does not depend on public approval or quick reactions. They know that time reveals everything. They trust that who they are will be seen, not by shouting, not by arguing, but by staying consistent in their values, in their work, and in their silence. Silence, in the right moment, says, I have bigger things to focus on. I won't waste my time feeding a fire that doesn't serve my future. That is not weakness. That is vision. That is clarity. Many people confuse silence with submission. They think if you're quiet, you've surrendered. But it's the opposite. Silence is discipline. It's the act of choosing peace over chaos, logic over emotion, and purpose over pride. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. Often, it's the quiet one who's watching, thinking, planning. The one who doesn't need to prove anything is usually the one who's already 2 steps ahead. And while others are wasting energy trying to win arguments, the quiet person is busy winning at life. You must ask yourself, what am I trying to gain by responding to disrespect? Am I fighting to protect my ego or my future? Most of the time, it's the ego. And that's why many people stay stuck. They trade long-term focus for short-term emotional victories. But emotional victories don't build anything. They don't pay bills. They don't create opportunities. They just feel good for a few minutes and leave you empty again. Real strength is being able to walk away when your pride is screaming to fight back. Real strength is knowing that your silence carries more meaning than their words ever could. Real strength is choosing your goals over your grudges. And real strength is being okay with not being understood in the moment because you're too focused on building a future that speaks for itself. Let them talk. Let them mock. Let them doubt. Let them throw words like knives. You don't have to respond to every comment, every insult, every moment of disrespect. There is a certain energy that comes with being doubted, being disrespected, being looked at as if you'll never make it. People talk. They laugh behind your back. They say you're not smart enough, strong enough, or connected enough. And the natural reaction, prove them wrong. Say something. Fire back. Show them they're wrong with your words. But here's the truth: words don't win. Emotions don't win. Arguments don't win. Success wins. You can explain yourself 100 times. You can try to convince them of your worth. You can shout your potential into the air, but none of it will matter to people who already decided not to believe in you. That's why you stop wasting energy on opinions. You stop trying to fight battles that don't build your future. You stop giving your voice to people who never deserve to hear your truth. Let your results do the talking. Let your accomplishments echo louder than your emotions. Let the life you're building be the only response you ever give. Because the most powerful revenge is not anger, it's growth. Let them see you when you're shining, not explaining. Let them see you when you're elevated, not exhausted from defending yourself. The ones who used to doubt you won't ask for explanations when they see what you've built. They'll just wonder how you did it without ever clapping back. You have to understand something about success. It silences people in a way words never can. It makes them pause. It makes them reflect. It makes them realize that the person they tried to tear down, ignore, or laugh at just became someone they can no longer reach. Success isn't just about money or fame. It's about growth, discipline, mastery, inner peace. It's about becoming so focused on your mission that you forget about their noise. So committed to your craft that you don't even notice who's watching. So locked in on your vision that disrespect becomes background music, faint, distant, irrelevant. And when the same people who criticized you come across your success, something changes. They won't remember what they said, but they will feel the weight of what they see. That's the real clapback. No yelling, no insults. Just proof. The problem is, most people want validation before they've earned it. They want to be believed in, supported, celebrated. But champions are not born in applause. They are forged in silence, in solitude in the shadows. While others are busy talking, laughing, and watching, success is not about showing them. It's about outgrowing them. It's about walking into rooms they never thought you'd enter. It's about doing what they said you couldn't without ever mentioning their names. The more you focus on clapping back with words, the more time you take away from building the life that would have shut them down in silence. Let your work speak so loudly that it drowns out their voices. Let your consistency become the answer to their criticism. Let your achievements stand like monuments where insults once stood. You are not here to argue for your greatness. You are here to prove it through execution. You are not here to remind people of who you are. You are here to become so valuable, so rare, so excellent that even the people who ignored you cannot avoid seeing you. The ones who doubted you, disrespected you, or overlooked you don't need your response. They need your results. Every late night, every early morning, every disciplined decision, that's your reply. Every level you reach is a sentence in the speech they'll never forget. Every goal you hit is a line in the story they never saw coming. They said you wouldn't make it. They laughed when you started. They called your dreams unrealistic. They watched you fail and they assumed it was your finish line. Disrespect is never easy to face. It stings. It makes you question yourself. It can trigger anger, sadness, confusion. And in that moment, it's tempting to take it personally, to believe that maybe, just maybe, something is wrong with you. But the truth is, disrespect says far more about the person giving it than the one receiving it. How someone treats you is a reflection of their mindset, not your value. When a person disrespects you, what you're seeing is a mirror of their own insecurities, their own pain, their own fear. People don't insult or belittle from a place of strength. They do it from weakness, from frustration, from a need to control or feel powerful in a life where they often feel powerless. It's easier to tear someone down than to build yourself up. It's easier to mock than to improve. So when someone chooses disrespect, it usually means they're fighting a battle within themselves, a battle they don't have the courage to face, so they project it outward. That's why you can't take it personally. Because in reality, it's not about you. It never was. Some people will see your confidence as arrogance, simply because they struggle to believe in themselves. Some will see your kindness as weakness, because they've learned to associate love with manipulation. Some will challenge your vision, not because it's wrong, but because it reminds them of the dreams they gave up on. Their tone, their attitude, their comments, they are a story. And that story began long before you ever walked into the room. Think about it. If someone is genuinely confident, fulfilled, and grounded, what do they gain from disrespecting others? What does a successful mind get from insulting someone they barely know? The answer is nothing. True strength doesn't need to step on others. It lifts them. True confidence doesn't belittle, it encourages. People who know who they are don't waste energy proving it by tearing others down. When someone goes out of their way to disrespect you, it's often a sign of their own emotional immaturity. They haven't learned how to deal with envy, disappointment, or fear. So they lash out. They haven't developed the self-awareness to understand their triggers. So they blame you. And in doing so, they show you everything you need to know about their character. That's why your response matters. Not just for your dignity, but for your direction. If you react with the same energy, you join them. You sink to the level they already feel stuck in. But if you stay calm, composed, and self-controlled, you maintain your power. You stay rooted in who you are, not in who they try to provoke you to be. The more you grow, the more disrespect you'll face. Not because you're wrong, but because you're rising. Your elevation will agitate people who feel stuck. Your discipline will irritate those who gave up on theirs. Your confidence will make insecure people uncomfortable, and they may try to dim your light to feel better in their own shadows. But again, that's not your problem to solve. You don't need to prove yourself to people who only understand you through the lens of their own limitations. You don't need to fix people who use disrespect as a mask for their wounds. You don't need to argue with someone who is committed to misunderstanding you because their disrespect was never about truth. It was about projection. Every time someone disrespects you, ask yourself, what does this say about them? Look beyond the words. Listen for the pain, see the patterns, and remember that their behavior is their burden to carry, not yours to absorb. In life, the easiest thing to do is get distracted, to get pulled into meaningless conversations, shallow conflicts, and temporary emotions. When someone disrespects you, criticizes you, or misunderstands you, the instinct is to react. It's natural to want to correct the narrative, defend your name, or prove a point. But the deeper truth is this: every second you spend reacting to noise is a second stolen from your purpose. There will always be people who don't see your vision. There will always be moments that try to shake your focus. There will always be situations that test your emotional discipline. But none of these moments define your journey unless you let them. The real test is not whether you win the argument. The real test is whether you stay aligned with where you're going. Focusing on the bigger picture means choosing long-term impact over short-term emotion. It means understanding that your reaction to today's disrespect can shape or delay tomorrow's opportunity. It means realizing that not everything deserves your energy, because your energy is meant for something far greater than the moment you're tempted to react in. When you lock in on your bigger picture, something shifts inside you. You begin to see conflict differently. You begin to realize that most of the things people fight over are small, fueled by ego, fear, and insecurity. But if you let those things consume you, you shrink to their level. You step out of your future and into someone else's chaos. Think about where you're going. Think about what you're building. A dream, a business, a future, a legacy. Does the opinion of one person matter more than all of that? Does one disrespectful moment deserve to steal your clarity? Because what you give attention to becomes your direction, and what you feed with emotion begins to grow. It's easy to say you have a vision. It's harder to protect it when things get uncomfortable. Most people can stay calm when things are peaceful, but the ones who truly elevate are those who can stay focused in the middle of noise. They don't let small minds pull them into small battles. They don't let petty distractions detour them from powerful destinations. The bigger picture isn't just your goal. It's your mindset. It's the discipline to say no to things that feel good now but cost you later. It's the wisdom to recognize which voices matter and which ones are just echoes from a place you've outgrown. It's the awareness to know that growth often requires silence, patience, and restraint. You won't always be understood while you're focused. People may say you've changed. They might say you're too serious, too distant, too cold. But staying locked in isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. And clarity is rare in a world full of noise. When you're building something real, you don't owe everyone an explanation. You owe yourself the commitment to stay consistent with the life you said you wanted. Sometimes that means ignoring the insult. Sometimes that means walking away from the argument. Sometimes that means biting your tongue when your pride wants to speak. Not because you can't respond, but because you've chosen not to waste your voice where it won't be valued. Your time, energy, and attention are your most valuable assets. Every time you give them away freely to drama or negativity, you lose ground on the mission that actually matters. So, ask yourself in every moment of pressure, is this helping me move forward, or is it pulling me back? Because every decision you make is either an investment in your future or a distraction from it. When you truly understand the weight of your vision, you start treating your peace as part of your work. You guard your focus like a treasure. You see silence not as passivity, but as a strategy to stay on course. In a world that's constantly shouting, those who stay silent are often misunderstood. People assume silence means weakness, fear, or a lack of ideas. But the ones who truly understand the power of silence know something others don't. That silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. Silence is strength. Silence is the language of those who are playing the long game. Future winners aren't wasting time proving points in every room they enter. They're not arguing for validation or competing for attention. They know their value, and they know the noise around them is temporary. While others are performing, posting, or reacting, the future winner is preparing, planning, sharpening their tools quietly behind the scenes. Silence is where the real work happens. It's the space where goals are refined, habits are built, and visions become clear. Future winners know that not everything needs to be said. Not every reaction needs to be loud. Some responses are better delivered in results, not words. The most powerful move is often the one that's never announced, it's executed. Most people speak out of impulse. They talk to be heard, to be seen, to feel important. But winners are different. They listen more than they speak. They observe patterns. They understand timing. They know that every word has weight, and using them carelessly can cost progress. So instead, they speak through action, consistency, and results. In silence, there's focus. And where there's focus, there's elevation. The people who are truly going somewhere in life aren't broadcasting every step. They don't need to. They're not trying to impress the crowd because they're too busy building something the crowd will eventually respect. That kind of silence isn't avoidance. It's intention. The future belongs to those who can tune out the distractions. Those who can master their emotions when provoked. Those who can stay calm when challenged. Not because they don't feel, but because they choose not to waste energy. They know reacting emotionally can delay the mission. They understand that silence is not giving up. It's holding the power until the moment is right. Winners don't announce what they're going to do. They just do it. They don't respond to every critic. They don't explain their every move. They don't rush to defend their dreams to people who think small. They understand that arguing with limited minds is a waste of potential. Their silence isn't passive. It's protective. It's a form of discipline that only few understand. The ones who win in the future are the ones who are quietly outworking, outplanning, and outlasting the noise. They don't need constant approval. They don't need applause. They are building in silence because they know that the spotlight isn't the goal. The result is. And when it's time, when everything is in place, when the moment is right, their success will speak volumes in a way that no response ever could. Silence is a kind of power that makes people uncomfortable because they can't read it. It's unpredictable. It keeps people guessing. It creates presence without force. It commands attention without needing to beg for it. The future winner isn't trying to win every small argument. They're trying to win at life, at freedom, at growth, at legacy. You'll notice that the people who always need to prove something are usually not as far along as they claim. But those who are truly building something great, they're not trying to prove, they're trying to finish. They're executing in private, working when nobody's watching, making progress that doesn't need to be posted for approval. They've learned to keep quiet when mocked, to keep moving when doubted, and to keep growing when underestimated. Because they've already seen where they're headed. They've already pictured the win. And they don't need anyone else to see it yet, because they trust the work in silence will one day become undeniable. In conclusion, staying quiet after being disrespected is not a sign of weakness. It's a powerful form of emotional intelligence and self-control. In a world that constantly pushes us to react, respond, and defend ourselves, choosing silence is choosing strength. It's a decision to rise above the noise, to value your peace over proving a point, and to protect your energy for what truly matters. Disrespect doesn't define you. It defines the person delivering it. When you react, you give them power. When you stay silent, you take it back. Your response reveals your discipline. It shows the world that you are focused on the bigger picture, not trapped in the smallness of someone else's opinions. The most successful people are not those who shout the loudest, but those who remain grounded when tested. Let your silence speak for your wisdom. Let your progress speak for your response. Let your growth speak for your mindset. Because in the end, your silence will echo louder than any insult thrown at you. So stay quiet, not because you have nothing to say. Stay quiet because what you're building is louder than anything they could ever say.